Okay, in this video, what we're going to be looking at is the text tool. Working in Illustrator, just a couple things we need to look at as far as the text tool, how to change some text, and some other more interesting things and more complicated things. The first thing is let's introduce the text tool. It's a fairly easy tool to understand, right? So there's the text tool right there, it's the T. Now, when I select on that, I have all these options at the top. Right up at the top it says character, click on that, and you can see this just works like in any program that you have. Here is the name of the typeface, here's the the font that you want to use, bold, condensed, whatever it is. The height, we'll talk about this is the leading, this is the kerning, and these are some other options here. So let's just kind of look at some of those options. So the first thing is we're going to change this typeface. I'm going to change it to a typeface that I have called DIN. And so the difference with the type tool is I can just click, right? So if I'm using one word, it's real easy to just do that. Or if I have a whole paragraph like I have down here, I want to click and drag. So that allows me to put in copy like this. And as I move this, you can see the copy reflows with this. If I'm just doing one word like that, I will just go ahead and make a single click and do that. So you can see I could go back in and resize this by changing the size here. Right? I can also use the keyboard shortcut Command Shift and the right bracket and the left bracket. Left bracket makes it smaller, the right bracket makes it bigger. I could also use the transform tool to make it bigger. Now, one thing I will suggest that you never do is never do this to your type. Right? It allows you to do it, but if you're going to resize, just make sure you're holding Shift as you resize. So if I wanted to change this, I can simply double click up here and I can do, let's just go to this next one, which is Universe, 39 thin, ultra condensed. So let's look at some of these other characters that are here, or some of these other things that are here. So the kerning is a space between two characters, right? So I can also bring the character palette. For the video, I'm going to bring it out here. And see, I can make this larger. See it getting bigger. Or I can make it smaller. Let's just do bigger jumps here. Right? I can make it bigger, or I can make it smaller. Now the shortcut for that is Option right arrow. Right? You can see it's getting bigger, or Option left arrow brings it smaller. If I want to do the whole entire word, you can see here that's tracking. So we are going to go ahead and track all of that together. So it's just a difference between, is it between 1 and 2 letters or across the whole word itself. So that is letting and tracking. So one thing that I would suggest you don't do or urge you not to do is this. Please don't stretch your type in any one of these ways. Don't do it. Okay, this we'll use a little later on in the videos. This is called a baseline shift, and that moves it down the baseline or up the baseline. The baseline is where all the letters sit, right? We'll use that when we're putting text on a path. And then you can rotate your text. Again, I don't know why you would want to do this, but you can. Set back to 0. All caps, subscript, right? Or superscript, so that is if you wanted to do something like that. That's a subscript, right? Underline and strike through. Right, so those are just some really simple things that you can do. The last thing we'll look at is we're just looking at kerning. Why would you need to kern? So here's an example here where the R is tucked underneath the T. So you'll need to be able to do that just as a better look, right? So we're going to kern these in. Now I was using the keyboard shortcut to do that. So it's Option left arrow if you want bigger jumps, Option Command, and that'll bring it in, or Alt Command on a PC. Right, so we're just bringing that in, and you can see down here it's changing. All right, and so that is just the real basic using the character palette and the type tool.